How's it guys, this is Dayvy FP and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about a Game Week 15 wildcard. However, this draft is probably going to be quite similar to my Game Week 16 wildcard, but because Game Week 15 and 16 are so close together, I would rather get this video out for you guys as soon as possible so that the Game Week 16 approach can be quite quick with only a couple days between the fixtures. This video is also useful to those of you who don't even have your first wildcard, as with this video you can kind of get a template for the free transfers that you want to use up until Game Week 19 or 18 or whatever you want to approach it. Maybe look at this squad and this is the desirable squad to go for, and you can just plan your free transfers around it. So if that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the first piece of news is actually some hot off the press news. It dropped straight away. I'm recording this video on Tuesday night, so we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about price rises. But this news has just been dropped by Ben Krillin. So he's got three possible scenarios for that Manchester United versus Burnley fixture. So the first one is nothing to worry about there. It's just not going to be rescheduled between Game Week 17 and 19. It'll happen later on in the season, which could be a possibility. But then it's the next two possibilities that are really interesting and could shake things up with that wild card and our overall teams going into blank Game Week 18 and double Game Week 19. So the second scenario there is if Manchester United beat Everton. Just remember, you'll be watching this video on Wednesday afternoon, so just stay tuned for that game happening tonight. Manchester United take on Everton in that Carabao Cup fixture. So if Man United win that game, Burnley versus Man United could be moved to Game Week 18, the blank Game Week 18, and that'll make them the only team that has a fixture in blank Game Week 18 and also a double Game Week and double Game Week 19, which is really good. I think if you guys don't have a free hit or maybe a first wild card, that makes your lives a lot easier because you simply just get a lot of Man United players and then they're perfectly fine for Game Week 18 and 19. And then if Everton beat Man United, that Burnley versus Man United fixture could actually be changed to Game Week 17. So we could have two double game weeks in 3 game weeks for Manchester United, double Game Week 17, then double Game Week 19, which actually would be quite interesting there. Definitely got to go for a triple up. Now this news is probably not going to come out towards the end of this week. I know the fixture is happening the night of you guys watching this video, but with the whole Christmas period around there, I don't think there's going to be too much rearranging of fixtures. If it does happen, we're just really lucky. Otherwise, I'm really hoping that it happens before the Game Week 16 deadline, because then at least we'll know that we want to triple up in Man United to take advantage of that blank or double Game Week fixture. So I just wanted to keep you guys updated with all double Game Week news and blank Game Week news here. So hopefully you are now updated, and by the time this video is released, we don't have even more news, and you guys are all up to date. So going on to the fixtures, because I think the fixtures you have to kind of plan your free transfers or your wildcard drafts strictly around, because whatever team has the best fixtures are going to be the players that you look at. So what I've gone here is I've taken the Ben Krillin fixture planner from Game Week 16 to Game Week 21. We'll be generally focusing on about Game Week 16 to Game Week 19, not to focus on Game Week 20 and 21, because I think there's just too many things to focus on right now with these blanks and these doubles coming up. Why I wanted to highlight the fixtures here is I wanted to show you the importance of not just looking at Game Week 18 and 19, because that's something that I actually fell into. And when I looked at the Game Week 16 and 17 fixtures, I noticed Tottenham Hotspurs with some big players have some really good fixtures there. So Fulham and Leeds, obviously Spurs have been playing really well this season, had a little bit of a dip of form recently, but they have had some tougher opponents. And I mean, Fulham and Leeds, that's two of the worst defenses in the Premier League. So I reckon that Spurs are going to get back on that goal scoring bandwagon, and a lot of goals are going to be coming for Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. So that leaves me with quite a dilemma there, because obviously I am wildcarding in Game Week 16. Do I really want a single Game Week players or 2 or 3 of them just because of those nice fixtures? I think that's kind of the question you got to ask yourself. You got to think, do you want Harry Kane, Heung-min Son? If you choose to not go with them, you can actually get a really nice squad. We'll be talking about that when we actually get into the draft. But this is kind of how you got to plan your fixtures. You got to look, say maybe you want a Chelsea player, maybe you want a West Ham player because they have good fixtures, and this is how you rotate your draft. This draft is going to be a bench boost draft, so if you guys are using the bench boost, you can go for it as well. However, if I didn't use the bench boost, I don't think my starting 11 would change that much, because we actually have gone for quite a budget bench, so you guys are saved on that kind of budget. You're not going into Game Week 20 with an absolutely stacked bench that you're going to have to transfer out to get some funds into your starting 11, so you'll be perfectly fine. But please look at the fixtures. Your own draft is probably going to be different to mine, because we all have differing opinions. I might really favor West Bromwich Albion for a double clean sheet, and you might say, what are you thinking? That's definitely going to be at least 5-0, 5-0. So that's just an example, quite quite an exaggerated example how we might have some differing opinions. So please pay attention to the game week 16 and 17 fixtures as well, because it's not worth kind of negating 2 game weeks just because a team has a double game week 19 fixture. So the last kind of talking point we're going to be going over, a little bit of admin here, is the team value. So this is my selling value of the squad. So if I take every single player and I sell them, this is what I'm left with. Now I know, please don't roast me in the comments because I'm poor this season, but my team value is pretty bad. I'm pretty sure that your guys' team value is going to be a lot better. I've seen some wildcard drafts over on Twitter, and they have had absolutely sensational players in, and I think that's just because they got good team value. So luckily, you all will be able to afford this draft, I can assure you. And if you have a lot more team value, you can simply just make an upgrade, and that'll kind of lead you in a perfectly good scenario going into double game week 90. So this is the draft that I've come up with. You can pause the video and look at it yourself, or you can just run through it with me, and I'll be going through every position and kind of why I've gone for it. As I mentioned before, this is a bench boost draft, so this is aimed if you guys are willing to use your bench boost in game week 19. If you don't want to use your bench boost and you just want to go for a wild card, that's perfectly fine here. Unfortunately, with this draft, it's kind of cheap in the 5th departments, so my 4th and 5th defender and my 5th midfielder, etc., are quite on the budget side of things, so you can easily just adapt this draft however you want to. Maybe you want to take out Kyle Walker-Peters and bring in someone like Mitchell because he's super cheap, then you can do that, but I think that this is a good template to kind of go by. The interesting talking points I have mentioned are Son and Kane here, so that's probably going to be the biggest talking point and what you guys have to kind of decide. It's a very situational decision in this case. If you don't think Spurs are going to do well over game week 16 and 17, then I would recommend just getting them out. Maybe you can go for a double up in that Liverpool defense even. I think that could be a great shout to go for, but this is kind of a template that I've gone for the most safety here, because Son and Kane are highly owned, and with 2 really good fixtures on the bounce, I think that could be in line for some punishment for us on a wild card. The nice thing about this is though, you can also, before game week 19, if you are free hitting in game week 18, you can simply just take a hit to take Son and Kane out and bring someone like Martial or Mane in to that midfield, or maybe you want a Jamie Vardy for the double. You can also do that. Just remember, if you do use the free hit, you're only going to have 1 free transfer before double game week 19, so you're going to have to take a hit if you want to take Son and Kane both out. So starting off on goal, I've gone for the template kind of double up in that keeper department with McCarthy and Johnston. 4.5, 4.6, really cheap. You're not going to get any cheaper than this. Maybe if you go for a 4.5 and a 4.5. I was also looking at Meslier because Leeds actually have quite a nice double, but I kind of opted against them because that Leeds defense has been a little bit shaky, and I don't really want to double up them as I already have Dallas. I've gone really cheap in the defensive departments. I've gone for Taylor, who's 4.5, Sufal, who's 4.6, Walker-Peters, who's 4.6, and Dallas, who's 4.7. I've opted for Thiago Silva here. He is 5.5, but I wanted a Chelsea defender that is currently fit. I think Reece James is the best option to go for, even though they have 2 fixtures that might be close together. He should be back from his injury, which is why I've opted for him if I could, as he is a lot cheaper than Thiago Silva. I think he comes in at 5.3, so you're saving about 0.2 there. And on a wild card, you always want to go for that budget option if you can. And Reece James is just more attacking. I know Thiago Silva got a heading goal, but I just still favor that assisting threat from Reece James rather. So hopefully we get a little bit more news before that game week 16 deadline, because then I definitely think that Reece James will be in this team instead of Thiago Silva. The midfield department, I've gone for Salah, Son, and Fernandes as my kind of premium options here. KDB, unfortunately, I just couldn't fit him in. He's a great shout if you can fit him in, but I just think with those City fixtures and that single game week, if I do use the free hit in game week 18, which is currently the plan, I will 100% have KDB. I'll definitely have a triple up in that Man City department, but the free hit in game week 18 allows me to go with no Man City options, so that's why there's no Man City options in this team. I've gone for strictly double game week players except for Son and Kane. I've gone for Souček, and then I've gone for Rafinha as my budget options that allow me to afford Harry Kane. So that's striker department. It's budget then premium, so I got Adams, Bamford, and Kane. I think Kane and Son over these next 2 are going to be quite good, and then I can simply take Kane to Jamie Vardy if I want to. The thing is with the double game week, it's always quite hard because a single game week fixture can actually be better. I mean, in the past we've had those single game week gems that have come out and outperformed the double game week players, even though they only have 1 fixture. So that's something that you just have to consider. I think if you don't have a first wild card, you might actually be in a fortunate position because you might have a Son or a Kane and keep them in double game week 19, and they actually perform better than some of the double game week players. But this team is very template. I would have loved to have fit in a Liverpool defender. Could maybe go for someone like Matip, but I would definitely prefer Trent Alexander-Arnold or Robertson. So the simplest downgrade is probably to take Kane out and then to upgrade one of the other defenders to Robbo or Trent, because that's just the simplest upgrade to do. It's going to be actually quite interesting if Man United do get that double up in Game Week 17. I think I would favor that rather than the game in blank Game Week 18, because I'm using my free hit anyway. So if they do get a double Game Week 17, I think that fixture is going to be quite juicy, and we could triple up on that Man United attack. And then maybe Kane becomes Martial or Cavani or something like that. So this team is my wildcard draft for Game Week 15. A lot of people have been asking for it, so I wanted to get it out for you guys as soon as possible so that you guys can look at it, especially in preparation for our own wildcard in Game Week 16. If you have your free transfers, just kind of use this as a template and use the fixtures for your own planning to bring in those free transfer players, as I always would prioritize the double game week, because I think the ceiling is just a little bit higher on that one. So this is basically a wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Drop your wildcard drafts down below. I'd love to see them, especially if you have an absolute massive team value. I reckon that we could have some absolutely sensational teams going into double game week 19. I'm going to be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.